Welcome back from the commercial break. We continue with our discussion, discovering Uganda's economic potential via tourism and mineral resource opportunities. And we ask ourselves the question, and for our discussion, both of us and you outside there, will Uganda government and citizen business investors utilize tourism and mineral resources for economic growth? When we talk about economic growth, we didn't want to go into too much conceptual analysis of what economic growth is, but yet it's important to highlight what exactly we're expected of. A country economic growth is realized where we find that we are self-economic sustainable in any way, where the citizens are not in economic crisis of any kind. You are able to earn, in terms of our citizens, we talk about 48, around now 45, over 45 million Ugandans, and of the active age, what do we earn? And we look at various potential. Tourism is among of those potentials. And we also look at the mineral resources. Some are not yet even, realized in terms of utilization, as our elders talked about it, retired Major Awik Paul. You were taking us through the in-depth of how to realize these economic potentials through tourism and mineral resource. We must know who we are as a country. We must experience what can help us, both at an individual level and a national level, so that we come out from, economic outcry in the form of crisis and so forth. Please, welcome once again, Dr. Aaron Kimise.
Yeah, maybe okay, fine. Apart from the tourism and the mineral sector, you could talk of other sectors that can pull our economy to the other level. There are other sectors, we can say business, the business sector, and this is empowering the small scale sector. And we have seen in a developed world, I think I can drag this conversation, we had it last time, is that there is no any economy that may develop without the small sectors. I mean the small farms. The small farms I'm talking about, like we are having in Kisenyi, somebody having a hardware, not to somebody having a shop. And also my brother here talked about agriculture is another thing that we may be having. And also this can be related to the tourism also. There are people there who have never eaten a live chicken. Because, like, for example, outside countries, people store meat for many days, months. But in Uganda, I'm able to get my chicken from the farm that I'm having and have it in a live way, and even it has a good content. And as it was alluded by the Major, that our soil here, 80% is said 80% is natural. So which means we are having organic. I think I like President Omar when he's joking that why should not somebody live over 95%? I think that is not an accident. That one, it is meaning the environment, because I'm eating natural natural things. I'm not. So I'm going to have life. And if you have really, you are eating really nicely. And even we have seen that at a time our soil, that as it is so beautiful, was taken by the Israelites. I remember some minister and all that, they were saying they are still using it. And what they gave us was constructing Entebbe Airport, and they took. In fact, that's the mineral resource I can say. Soil, I think, lies under what? Mineral resources. So Uganda is full of what? Mineral resources. And then another one, I think the government has tried, the human resource. I think, people joke, but at my university, at Kavenish University, I think it was today or the other day, I had Nigerians. Are you aware that Ugandans ourselves, we are tourist attractions? You know, the guy said, I'm here because you guys, you are so good. Ugandans are so good. That time, we ourselves, we are tourists. Live about the rivers, live about the food that we may be having, but also the way, what we are having. There is no any other country around. Can imagine from Nigeria, somebody coming in to say, oh wow, dog, I can't imagine that. You guys, you are so good that, and when it's coming with dollars to come and develop our economy. In fact, at Kavenish University, we have, most of the people, we have international community. Why? Because of the environment that we are having. It's not because our money is affordable, but because of the kind of the setup that we are having.
Doctor, as we were looking at that,
yes.
the reason why we bring out this discussion, and the good thing you are coming from the academia background, if you were making recommendation to the policymakers, to the NRM-led government, apart from tourism, apart from the mineral resource, but again considering tourism and the mineral resource, what needs to be done best? Because you remember, we are dealing with the discovery. What needs to be done best? So that what has been right now here declared, that Uganda, in the tourism sector, we generate USA dollars 1.53 billion in revenue. But this is not enough. We are supposed at least to be proud if we're talking about even 10 point, let's say 5 billion times 10, doing it best. So what should be done best in order to enhance this tourism sector and the mineral resource, which we know, according to the constraints that we're able to look at before we started this show, they need to be minimized. Just want to give you more 2 minutes, 3 minutes, then we will come again. Our dear guest.
I think I'll go back the other factors or aspects that I may say, which I've already said, but some of them we could say investing in the private sector, I think is one of the things that can be done. The private sector is very important. Like, I'm coming from a private sector, and I've already given a live example whereby somebody is confessing that because of you, I'm here. So if the private sector, we do the partnership, like for us, the recommendation or the request I can make to the government, we have seen you are giving public universities money to do research. I think that is quite important, that you need to invest also in the private sector, because we are serving the same Ugandans and the same African people. So we need also to be helped in that way. And then also to construct roads, okay? Because if we don't have roads, our people to move on, I think it may not be. It's good, we have seen the airport is up, and we have seen Bombardier has come in here. I don't know now whether it is able even to fly as far as UK to bring our tourists. I think that those are marks that we can
in your analysis now.
Yeah, so and then another, I can say, still I emphasize.
There's why you have talked about the airport.
Yes.
In Uganda, how many airports do we have? And what could make it a point for us to have airports? Do you know, when you go to some countries, they tell you that, you know, when you go to Western, you find like 3 airports. And I know that it's in the program, but what should have been our target, either in the next 3 years, if we are to achieve an improved air infrastructure that will attract tourism? I
think this can be based on the vision. Uganda has a vision, or like any other vision. You remember, we are, as a nation, also we are following the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. There are many things that may be focused on, and also looking at the population, and also looking at the priority sectors that we are having and all that. I think it may not be that we should have an airport in Gulu and all that, but even our budget that we are having, what are the priority sectors, because this is a policy issue that we may talk about. As the government, it has got its own maybe major, it should be able to digest that further. But if you see the latest, few months and years, we have seen the tremendous kind of change. Having an aircraft, I think Uganda has not been having this kind of an arrangement. But still, I would say that is not enough, because by that time, we cannot have an airport. I think before some of us were born, and even I think in the 90s, I think the population there by that time was should have been maybe 6 million people, 10 million people. But right now, you are talking about 45 million people. But then that is an issue of priority that we need to be there. And once, if we can, using tourism or minerals to be a spark to our development, I think we have, in economics, we have what we call economies of scale. Okay, economies of scale. For example, I'm here, but maybe I'll be able to enjoy the water. Yet I may not afford it, but I'm enjoying the economies of scale because I've come to present. Yeah, you can give me a snack and I eat something which is coming in because there is something, a center of interest that is is there.
Okay, I'll be coming to you, and we'll be dealing with the constraints, that what has been the hindrance for the growth of tourism and mineral resource. But before we go to that segment of discussion, yeah, I remember I left with you, retired Major Awikpora, in matters of looking at an assessment or review of what has been done best, especially for the time being of the NRM-led government, to improve tourism, and what still lacks for us to do it best. Because the reason why I pose that question is not only to make a review. Our desire is to see Uganda at a certain point not depending on too much indebtedness, the national debt, which has been a burden, national debt burden, and reducing, and by exploring into these opportunities, tourism and minerals. I've stated the percentage which can generate at a level of generating the revenue. Yeah, I would like to come again. I remember there is why I said you'll be coming back again.
I think the question was what has been done so far.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Mm.
A lot has been done so far, and we need to do more.
Mm.
One thing that has been done, of course, is the infrastructure.
Mm.
Like if you look at our 3 major national parks, Queen Elizabeth, Kabalega, which is called Maxon, and Kidego. All of them are nearly accessible by tarmac road. Queen Elizabeth, you can drive from Kampala. Even if you took Umbarara Road or you took Mitiana Road, you can access it on tarmac. And there's a lot of investment. Those roads were not there. Kabalega or Maxon, a road which was not there before from Masindi, which is almost 4 lanes, goes straight to the park, and it crosses up to the bridge on Pakwach, River Nile. So we have now 2 roads which crosses the River Nile. I mean, from the same park, because that park, the river meanders around. So it crosses from Masinde, you cross a bridge, as good as this of Ginger, or better. People are not aware that there's a bridge inside the national park as good as this River Nile in Ginger. And then again you cross from Pakwai. So that infrastructure has been done. And even inside the park there are many roads that have been made to make accessibility when you're visiting the animals. The other thing that has been done is our name. But this one, I must say, it is facing challenge now. The name of the country has been built back. Uganda is peaceful. It's not like some time back if you went to USA or in New York, for example, and you find a country like Lithuania. I've been there because I was a candidate to be voted. I've been voted by the world twice.
By the world twice?
As a world judge.
Congratulations.
Human rights.
Well done.
But I found it funny when I was campaigning, you're meeting the ambassador of Lithuania and you say you're from Uganda. Guess what the person knows? Amin.
Yeah.
So he only knows Amin. So now, over time, we have developed our name. We have continued through sports. They keep sorting.
Are they still remembering Amin now? They can
now
say
they Uganda stands
because the reason I'm coming in for that commentary, Amin was here for only around 9 years. 8 years. Then Mr. Museveni has been here for the last now 35 almost.
Yes.
35, 36.
Yes. No, we have built our own brand now. In sports, you have seen we have continued to win goals. Football, we have continued to fare at African nations. So, and many other things. So we have continued to build a name. So that is also itself infrastructure in tourism. Besides building name in tourism itself. With this one, I must say, we are facing a lot of impediment because due to social media, our colleagues from the political competitors have tended to put political interest ahead of the country. So they project a lot of negativity. And the people around the world cannot verify. For example, on a TV like this, I've had time when you are debating with somebody and somebody makes a statement like, NRM is castrating men. Say, come on, just a minute. Was it Tom who was castrated? Was it Peter? Was it John? But if you make such a statement, a moderator, it affects the image of the country. and all of us are bound to lose. But all in all, we are building them. Now, protection of tourists themselves. Over time, we have continued. Few incidences are where tourists feel insecure, but the protection, the security is available, and this is very good infrastructure for tourism, and it has been done. Security, we have had wars, but now there's no war in the country. The country is 100% peaceful. That itself is investment. Things to sell. We have encouraged people along the roads, art crafts, food, whatever. These things are now available to sell to tourists, and that is itself an investment. Then investment per se. Investment in as far as hotels, like you get in these parks, there are expensive hotels, of course, like Para Lodge, like a Chopper Lodge, and then in Kamalenga, the same, in Queen Elizabeth, the same thing. So, and several others in the neighborhood, these are all investment. But I still feel again, like in our name, this area is wanting. I've been in the park a couple of times. It is really still expensive. There was a time when Kenya, our neighbor, during Moi, which Kenya was almost facing economic sanction from Western world. You know what Kenya decided? They said, we shall make tourism for Kenyans. They made it affordable, they built infrastructure. Kenyans did their own tourism. You can't imagine, doctor, you pick your family and you go to Kidebo. This is not yet what we have achieved. We are still depending on foreign tourists. But Kenya survived that way. Their tourism never died. Kenya said, okay, if the West is now fighting us through this, because they had the campaign, they said we can make it a Kenyan tourist system. They did it. So we haven't done it, mainly because the investment, especially in rooms, are still very expensive. So we need interventions where local investors can be encouraged to do that. Many of us would take families for Christmas, but if you conduct Christmas now, the rooms are, by now all the rooms are booked. You can't now go to any park now and get a room in those hotels, even if you had money. So many investments have been put in place. The overarching being security, the overarching being the good name, the overarching being infrastructure in the roads. But I'm saying we need to do more. But a lot of investment has been put in place.
I want us to agree on, I do respect you as a nationalist. You did a lot when you ensured that there can be liberation. You also contributed of this country. And there are some of the gaps which we could face heads on, all of us, without either finger pointing. One of the gaps is the tampering or affecting our tourism and the natural resources, especially the effect on Mabira. Me myself, I used to do business from Kigezi all the way and to Jinja. And when you could reach Mabira, you could want to first relax. But Mabira has been affected. And the policy, the government policy, and those who have tried to advocate for environmental protection seem to have been a conflict. Why should there be a conflict and effect on Mabira forest, a natural forest that can earn a lot of money for the country and at the same time protect the environment? Why has either the president or the very government not come straight forward and say no, to go away with those who are planting sugar cane and so forth, and we maintain Mabira, our source of natural heritage and source of revenue? What is your take on that?
My take on that is that the natural environment should be protected, no doubt, Mabira being top on the list. And I think government has tried that. There are many legislative measures that have been put under environment, which is intended to protect the forest and to protect Mabira. Laws are in place, just like in the water where there's a maximum or minimum amount distance to the
but
forest.
A certain level of acreage has been given away. That's my concern.
I'm coming to that. I'm saying that if we look at institutional framework in legal terms, a lot of laws have been put to protect the forest. Two, a lot of institutions have been put. Environment Authority, Forest Authority, including Environment Police. Environment Police with pickups to guard and check on encroachers. However, there is this case that you are citing of the sugarcane, which was an intervention also with the government. It needs a balancing. Remember that NRM was coming from a time when sugar, people would line up. You'd line up to buy sugar, and it would be hoarded. So there was no sugar. So and again, people would see it like not only do people need sugar, but it was almost a test of a failure of a government. People don't have sugar. People don't have sugar. So at that point, there was an attempt to bring sugar, and I think we did it. In fact, right now, we almost have surplus sugar. So that was that intervention. But over and above, apart from this intervention, government recognizes that there should be protection of Mabira, protection of forest. And you don't only do by wishful thinking, by words of mouth. You must have laws in place. You must have institutions in place, like Forest Authority, like all that. Then you must have the police itself. There is a whole department of environment police to protect this forest. So I think a lot has been done to protect it. But of course, we have that. And not only Mabira, data and statistics will show you that the depletion of trees, the depletion of environment is going at a very high rate. And we need to be cognizant of this, and government is cognizant. So a lot yet have to be done. Even if you have laws in place, even if you have institutions in place, the operationalization, the effectiveness, the working itself must be seen, so that results show that this year we have protected this, or this year we have not lost this number of forests.
Thank you. We're coming back to you, Doctor, and I will take you to a general question which has been a current issue.
Yeah, you can make a follow-up on it.
You want to supplement?
Yeah.
Okay, please.
Yeah, so I think I'll pick it up from my brother here. But I think also we need to know the trajectory. Or is a country has got a trajectory. We are coming from a trajectory that, as we said, in 1986, I believe the population must have been maybe 12 million. I don't know, 12 million, I think. But now we are talking about 45 million and beyond and all that. So what we expect, definitely, if we are not well set, then we are likely to have a stampede. In statistics or research, if we go in academia, we could say we have what we call outliers. I think the issue of Mabila can be one of the outliers and all that, because the population that we're having, I think by that time, me and you, I think we're in the same age bracket, in the 40s, something like that. We enjoyed a few people. But right now, even at home right now, we are competing for the space. So we are likely to have that, and it's good. Major has said that they are fixed, that we have policy, okay? And if we have the policy and to identify certain agencies that are able to help do that in order to grip the thing here and to see us that we can what. Then what I wanted also to add on is that...
I would like to ask you to hold on.
Yes.
We'll go for a commercial break. We'll be coming back. Then you'll add on and be ready to also answer question in the area of the mineral resource. Why is it that there is a concern that the oil pipeline, that's part of the opportunity we have of oil, but there are some challenges. And we'll be talking about the issue of the oil pipeline, why the European Union seems to be saying, no, hold on, and all that kind of controversy. Be ready for that. It's a current issue. Stay tuned as we meet in the second session.
Okay, thanks.
I hope